Hi guys.
Welcome back to the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Ayo.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Temi.
Welcome back. It's been a month. I just need to address something quickly. The reason it's been a month is because someone over here didn't want to come to work.
No, I'll reply. Go on.
You didn't want to come to work. And obviously we was locked down in London, but still this is working. I was down to come.
Oh my God.
Okay.
But
this girl would not fail to remind everyone.
Just to reply to this one's claims over here. It was a lockdown, a national lockdown, and I wanted to be responsible. I live at home with my parents who are vulnerable, so thank you very much. I don't
do that to me.
No, let me be honest. Whether you people understand it or not, that's not my problem.
Well,
so
don't do that to me. You're making me sound like I'm not nice.
Can I just butt in for 1 second?
For it,
obviously it's been a month. We haven't seen you guys in ages, and I just wanted to say I missed you guys.
I know. If you follow us on Insta though, you would have seen that we did some lives.
We did some lives.
Oh, sorry. 2 to be exact.
Yeah, we did 2 lives.
We're saying some like it was a lot.
It's okay.
We did 2 lives. Obviously thank you so much to those who've been supporting from day one.
Yeah.
From before we were even in this studio.
Amen.
From before we were even getting professional photos.
Wow.
From before we even had an Instagram page. Before we even had a branding
logo. Yeah.
We were sitting on a
all
bed.
of those things. Because I know obviously like it's been a month. Some people probably thought that we got kicked out or something, or that we weren't able to book this studio anymore. But just to let you know, remind you, we're here to stay. Soapbox Studios on Instagram, Soapbox 2 X's.
Period.
Gang. Point blank.
Follow us to SDWTS podcast
on Twitter and Insta.
Yeah.
And Spotify.
And Spotify, yes.
And Apple Podcasts.
If you had your Spotify unwrapped and we were on your top 5, please share it with us and tag us. Some people don't listen to our podcast outside of the podcast, and I'm not going to name names today, but God knows them. Right.
Whoa.
Today we're going to be talking about something, quite interesting. We're going to be talking about marriage in a way, but more how do you know you're ready for marriage type of vibes. But basically, this was the context. This was the tweet brought to us by... Actually, never mind. I won't say who it is because they might not. Anyway.
Yeah.
So this guy tweeted, if your man isn't financially stable, would you pay for the wedding ring? Right?
Wait, was this something that was brought to us?
No.
Oh, we just saw it. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And then another person quote tweeted that tweet and said, if you are not financially stable to buy a wedding ring, you are not financially stable enough to get married, in my opinion.
Well,
and then I saw this tweet and I was like, I don't agree with that, but I'm going to share it with the girls and I think we should talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, we slightly gave our opinions in the group chat a little bit, and I felt like we actually have different opinions this time. So I'm so glad we never actually spoke about it in the group chat, because I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Why don't you start off then, love? Why are you looking at me like that? Go on.
I'm 50-50. Yeah.
Oh.
I agree. So read the statement out one more time, sorry.
She said, if you are not financially stable to buy a wedding ring, you are not financially stable enough to get married, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm 50-50. And if you remember the first time you sent it in the group chat, I literally agreed straight away. I was like, yep, facts. And then I thought about it and I thought, okay, well, everyone has their opinions. But the reason why I do agree is because, right, a ring symbolizes something in a marriage, right? To a lot of marriages, not every single marriage. So if, like, the way I see it is, like, I'm trying to imagine if that was my husband, right? And, he wants to marry me and, he can't afford a ring. So I don't understand, like, how are we gonna, like, sorry, I know, like, what's the next step? Like, I get you can't afford a ring, that's fine, because I'm not trying to base our marriage off the ring, because we have a whole marriage and a whole life to live outside that ring. So it does signify our love, or it signifies something. But I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people might not agree or believe me, but I can be with a man without the ring. Like, I can do it. But it's just like, if you genuinely cannot afford it, then it's just like, what are we getting ourselves into? Like, are you struggling financially? Let me not lie. If a man's struggling financially, my dad's not letting me marry you. I'm not gonna lie, because he's gonna ask you, where you taking my daughter?
Where are you living?
Where is she living? Because I'm not gonna lie, my dad has never been the one that's well off, or he's never been the richest, but he's always been able to provide. So how can I leave my dad's home to now go into another man's home to start a family, and you're not financially stable in that? Do you know what I mean? One of the main reasons why right now I would say I'm not really ready for marriage, a big part, is because I'm not financially stable. Like, I want to get to a certain place in life, you know, my career, I want to, you know what I'm doing, know myself a bit more. I'm still growing and learning as I go. I always will for the rest of my life. I'll still always get to know myself. But in terms of being financially stable, financially okay, like I can meet a guy and we can get to know each other. But in terms of actually getting married, I would like to think we both need to get to a certain place so we can then, you know, build a future together. So if you can't buy a ring, it goes to show, like, how are we going to pay for rent? How are we going to do our mortgage? Like, how are we going to do all these things? Do you know? So there's that part. The reason why I don't agree with it is, like I said before, it's not solely focused on, like, our marriage isn't solely focused on the ring. Do you know what I mean? Just because you can't afford the ring now doesn't mean later on in life we're not going to get to a place where we both become financially stable. If I had it my way, I would love us to go into our marriage both financially stable. But then I also understand that's not always the case. Right. Is that going to stop me from like wanting to get married and doing all these things? Maybe, but not necessarily. Do you know what I mean?
I can't lie, I'm the same with Temi. I'm 50-50. I can't lie.
She said it all.
More or less, but what I do want to add on, the reason why I disagree, I'll say why I disagree first, is because I don't think that aspect alone should determine whether or not you should get married. Because a lot of people, they do get engaged and then they get the ring later on, or when they get married, they get the ring later on, so and so. The reason why I agree with that statement is that, okay, you know, he said, oh, you can't afford a ring. There are rings on Argos for £20.
Are you accepting that, actually? Because ring? I promise you, a man's not proposing.
No,
to
can
me
I be honest
that.
with you? The ring that I have right now, the one that I did have, the one that you guys, the one that you love, I'm not funny. That's from eBay.
Actually, that's not your engagement ring, though, babes.
But
like that, bro. Rings,
but okay,
bro.
so
We get rings from Primark.
Okay, let me be honest.
Would you accept it?
If I would, say for example, if he came to me
and
and
you'd be happy with it, not that you just accept it.
I would be
like, you
more
would
than
show
happy.
it off to everyone.
Do you know?
Okay.
Say if, for example, now if it actually looks like an expensive ring, because those rings as well on Argos, they genuinely look like they're 6 carat or whatever.
Yeah.
And this is why I say that. I say that to say, if my man came to me and said, you know what, or if he went to my parents and said, you know what, I want to propose to her, but I'm not in a position to buy a 2,000 or 3,000 or however £1,000 ring, but I do want to give her, I want to show a symbol of love, so can I at least get her this ring and then later on upgrade the ring? Or even if he doesn't upgrade the ring, I would,
you would appreciate the sentiment.
I would still say
oh
yes.
It's easier said than done.
No, it is easier said than done, but I just feel like that aspect, it shouldn't determine whether you get married or not.
Small factor,
because really and truly, that ring alone, a ring alone is just the tiniest part of marriage.
Literally, like this big.
So if you're determining, if you're basing your answer off of that alone, then really and truly, you're probably not ready for marriage. Because what now, like, you know, the whole argument that you should wait until you're in a place that you're financially stable. What now when you do get married and then your finances go downhill?
Absolutely.
What does that now mean? Does that now mean, do you know what, divorce, the marriage is over?
Absolutely.
You're like, money is, like, I love what I always says, money is a currency. It flows in and out.
Absolutely.
Your money at any given moment can change. Life can come at you real quick. Real quick. So to base it off of that, what now? Imagine now he buys you that ring, yeah. Say for example, the ring is 20,000 or however much, and then when you do get married, and then you come to a point where, you know, finances it's tough, and he says, you know what, I think we should sell the ring.
Are you going to be able to let go of it?
Yeah.
Look at my eyes.
Are you going to be able to? That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to let go of my ring.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the ring is only the tiniest part of it.
And do you know what?
And that's why we see so many divorces. That's why we see on social media even that someone gets engaged and they have the most beautiful ring. Couple months later, divorce. Not divorce. Breakup.
Of course, it's not a cure to like last.
At all. It doesn't. Even if someone does buy that, say if they do buy that ring, don't get me wrong. I would. No one here can say they wouldn't love that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Course.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
And can I just say something quickly, Anna, because I want to hear your opinion as well. We also need to consider there are actually some marriages that don't wear rings. They don't believe in rings and jewelry and stuff like that. Like, I go my family church. Obviously, I don't really attend, but my family church, they don't do rings. Like, it's a Bible. Do you know what I mean? So they've replaced the ring with the Bible. So marriages like that, it's just like, okay, they don't have that pressure in the first place anyway. So yeah. So my thoughts kind of lead beautifully on from that, because I grew up in a church like that too, where jewelry is not a thing like that. But growing up, I just always have felt like I don't really want an engagement ring. That's just a personal.
Yeah, you've always been.
And my reasonings, there's so many different reasons as to why. One being, I don't think a man should have to feel like he has to break the bank before he can ask me to marry him. I think marriage is so much bigger than that. Like, marriage to me is not the paper, it's not the ring, it's the covenant, it's all of that. It's commitment, that stuff. It's a commitment. So for me, like, if that's the one thing that in his mind is stressing him, killing him, that he can't propose to me, like, for me, it's like, it's not worth him dying over it for me. On top and apart from that, I just think sometimes a lot of this stuff can be very materialistic in ways where there's so many other ways you can symbolize some people might say, if you don't have a ring, how will people know you're married? I know I'm married. It's not me trying to prove to people that
some people have a ring and they're still behaving like they're single. You know, it's not stopping them.
So like for me, it's never been like that. And I think she said, if you're not financially stable enough to buy a wedding ring, you're not financially stable enough to get married. I think that's quite a wild statement to make, because it's very nuanced. Like, how much do you want this ring to be then? Like, there's so many different factors to it. Like, obviously some girls are looking for a 10k ring, 20k ring, and it's like, okay, if he's making 100k, okay, makes sense. But say for instance he's making 30k, 40k, and you want him to buy your 20k ring.
I heard, do you know what, funny enough, like about 2-3 weeks ago, I must have heard somewhere, I don't know where I heard it, but apparently a ring literally the quote was a ring should cost at least a man's like 3 months worth of salary. Or 2 months.
So like what's that? Like 5k?
Depending on what 6K. He earns, obviously.
If you're working a 20k job, 25k, 30k job, that's not going to be.
My thing is, what? Why must?
It must.
Why should? Like, I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying, because the thing about engagement rings for me personally is now they've just become a show off contest.
Social media has made it worse as well. Competition
on socials, everyone's always criticizing the ring, looking at the ring. Do you like the ring? Do you like the ring? Do you like the ring? It's that. And like for me, it's like that. The engagement has nothing to do with that.
Fact.
Do you know what I mean? It literally has nothing to do with that. And so for me, just because he wasn't able to buy a ring doesn't mean he's not financially stable to get married. Because for me, I believe in growing up and growing with the person you get married to. I'm not saying I'm going to marry someone that's making £1 a month. No,
of course.
Do you know what I'm saying? But
£1 a month.
We might not be exactly where we want to be financially when we get married, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think a lot of people don't get married because of money, and for me, I don't agree with that, because for a long time I was like that. For a long time I was like, oh no, we have to be making. I need to be making money, like
even to be in a relationship.
I mean, I need to be, but then I was like, but when you're married to someone, the highs and lows are always going to be there. So if I'm waiting till I'm high to get married, but I'm still going to experience lows, what is the real?
How are you going to behave when you hit that low?
The reason why I'm going to be in the middle of that, the reason why I see and I agree to some extent, like I'm still like that in a way, is because at the end of the day, when you want to start a union, when you want to start something, you want to start the best way possible. Of course, obviously, I understand, like, we're not kids. Obviously, we're a certain age where we realize that, you know, life isn't always what we make it. Like, when we're married, just because we start on a high doesn't mean we're not going to go through tough times, and that could involve, you know, financial stability and, you know, all of that. I definitely understand that, but the way I see it is just, if I want to get married, I would love, like, it would be my dream to be in the best position possible. 100%. So then I don't have to go through that. And another reason why I feel like people always say the whole, like, you know, being financially stable is also because of their upbringing, and also like the family they've been brought into, like they grew up in, you know, maybe they've seen their family or their parents struggle when they were younger. They don't want that for themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
On that point, sorry, just quickly, like, on that point, I completely get it. But then I also think starting at the best place possible is very contextual. For someone, starting at the best place possible is actually just being married to their best friend. Even if they're renting a small apartment, they can cover bills, and they're cool and they're working. For them, that's the best place.
You that you can start. And
whilst for some other people, the best place is we own a property, we this, we that, and that's when I'm getting married.
It's subjective.
For me, obviously, everybody is allowed to have their goals and aspirations for what, but I don't think, because
inflict that on
I'm saying, because marriage for me is such a big deal. I think marriage is dying out in our generation,
unfortunately,
and it's really saddening. Actually, I was going to say it's disgusting, but that's not the right word. Like, it's very upsetting, because marriage, I think, is a very beautiful thing, and I think people have turned marriage into almost like a pedestal thing. What's that word? An aesthetic thing. Marriage is not that. Like, there's this guy Sully Breaks. His tweets have been going viral about marriage, because he's been expressing
I've been
how
seeing, like, the
real marriage
and
is.
everything.
Like, it's not even only the highs. He's been expressing
forgiveness aspect of it, all
the
of
vulnerability of it, and I think we're losing reality a lot because of the generation we live in. People are not talking about the real stuff, and for me, if it's literally money that's stopping you from getting married, obviously, I'm not, now don't go and use my words to do something. I'm not saying obviously if you're making your work, do you know what I mean? If you're not making, we know what we're talking about, but I'm saying if it's money I don't think money should be the hindrance. I know it sounds wild, but for me, like, especially now growing up and talking to loads of different people from different walks of life, like for instance, my family member, my brother is getting married, and my sister-in-law, his wife to be, she grew up in America. They get married when they're 19, 20, and they make their life together. Like, obviously the quality of life is very different in America. They make better money for their jobs and everything, and they have their money goes further than our money does here. But they don't really think about it as, oh, I need to be rich. They think I'm going to get rich with you. I'm going to get wealthy with you.
Do you know the people, can I say, touch on what you just said, the people that end up saying like, we're going to do this together, I understand it completely. But I feel like the people that are more likely to say that are people that they found the love of their life from an early age. Because I'm not gonna lie, say I did find the love of my life in secondary school, and it's different because of course, am I gonna go break up with you, go do my own thing, and then build and then come back? We're gonna do it together because we've met each other early on. What am I looking for? I found the love of my life. But I feel like now, because we're young and we're still single, like we still have the opportunity to do what we want to do. And another thing I was gonna say is some people use that as a motivational strategy. Do you know what I mean? They'll use it as a motivation to sort of get themselves together. Like I definitely use it as motivation.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know why? Because I feel like by God's grace, I want to be married at a certain age, and it's like, not to say it's giving me sort of like a time frame, but it's giving me sort of like a scope to sort of map out to sort of aspire to, like when I get to this age, hopefully by God's grace, with prayer and effort and everything put together, I've got this at least that goal, so I can tick it off. Like for example, my masters, I could have decided like I wanted to do it when I was married, which is nothing wrong with. Now there was nothing stopping me. I've got the time,
so you want to make the wise decisions now that you can. No, I get that. I actually get that. I do. And obviously I feel like if you have the power to ensure that you're in a better position,
then go ahead.
Why not? Go for it. Of course, I get that.
Who wouldn't want to have a comfortable life?
So I have a question now in regards to like his initial statement, her initial statement, her saying if you can't afford the ring, then you shouldn't even be going into.
You shouldn't be getting married.
You shouldn't be getting married. So what now? Because I think when people see that, they're now assuming that the guy has £0.
That's what I'm saying.
So what now if he has finances, but he just sits you down and he's like, do you know what? I don't want to put 2k 3k however much money a ring is, and I want to put that money instead towards our honeymoon, or towards
I'm so cool with that,
or towards our down payment for a house or a deposit or just anything. What would you girls say?
Do you want to go?
I'm so cool with that. Like when I say, this is the thing about me, I'm a very simple babe, like, and not even because my standards are low, my standards are like good, high, whatever, but I'm just very simple about stuff like that, because it doesn't excite me, the concept of just having this ring on my finger and like just to have it. Like, so if he was to say something like that to me,
because what's funny, sorry, before you answer, Temi, you could have that ring on your finger but you are struggling. Like you're even every night, you're even struggling to pay for certain things of the wedding. And then because I feel like it's less sensible, it's not sensible, sorry, if you pay for that ring that's 10k 20k or however much that girl said on Twitter, and then you're having to now take out loans to pay for
people going to debt over their wedding,
to pay for a venue, to pay for food, to pay for catering, to pay for all of these things, to pay for your wedding dress, all of these things. And it's like, I feel like personally for me that kind of shows
where your priorities
a lack of financial
literacy. What did you want to say?
What I was going to say is, that question that you asked, I feel like so say I'm getting like in the talking stages, or, before we get to the place where we're talking about actually the ring, I feel like I would sort of know that about him. Like, I don't know how to explain that. I feel like
how he is.
How he is. Like, I feel like in talking, like when you're dating, when you're in a relationship with someone, I hope to be with the person before, like for a certain amount of time before we get to talking about rings anyway. Like, I hope like at least a year or so, or 2 years or whatever before we start talking about rings. So by that time I feel like I'll have a rough idea, but then that doesn't mean he can't change his mind. 100%. He can, but obviously I feel like at the second he changes his mind, because he would know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna be I'm that kind of girl that you would know I want a ring, because I do want a ring, but fine. I'm also that kind of girl that when I love you, I'm willing to ride regardless.
Yeah,
like, if he's telling me that, you know, there's no ring and stuff, don't get it twisted. I'll probably cry to my mom, like, Mom, I want a ring. But I'll be like, that's the guy I want to be with for the rest of my life.
Logical and
I'll be very,
yeah,
very, not even later on, like, probably straight away, like, I'll shrug it off. Do you know what I mean? That's what compromise is. That's what I'm getting myself into, marriage long term. Start practicing now.
And him using that money for something else now doesn't mean that he's not gonna.
And it's for us.
Exactly.
It's for you. For us.
It's not even a selfish
thing. It's not even like it's for himself, like his business.
Like, wow, he has like, he's looking at the bigger picture. It's not that he doesn't want to, because some people might be listening to think, oh, but that means he doesn't want to treat me. He doesn't think I deserve nice things. He doesn't think I deserve a ring. It's not that. It's not down to, oh, he doesn't think you deserve it. It's just like some men actually just look at the bigger picture and like, do you know what I want? For them, it's like, I know some people are going to be like, oh, but you don't have to pick out of the two. But for some men, it's like, do you know what? I know the type of life that I want to provide for my future wife.
Absolutely.
And it starts from by the decisions that I make today or right now, sort of thing.
Sorry to
go on. No, it's fine.
I also think like some girls don't realize the pressure on men in those areas of life. I think sometimes we think they should just do it. But it's like it's a pressure. I'm sure men literally think about this stuff like, how am I going to do it?
I feel like a lot of women do know, but they just don't care.
Oh, that's
there's also that.
Like that. I'm sorry,
they just don't care because they genuinely believe that quote in a sense. Where then why are you marrying me? Then why are you doing these things? And can I say no? Do you know what it is? Like, I'm not even gonna lie and say I don't understand their point of view, especially for women that might be doing well for themselves and they've built a life for themselves. You know,
it's like what you said. You should know the kind of guy that you have before.
Absolutely, that's why you got have that conversation. Don't now get to the point where he's talking to you about the ring and then you're just shocked, like, whoa, like, especially because he's made you realize that's the kind of person he is from the get-go.
Yeah,
do you know
like, say you're well-to-do yourself, which is beautiful and it's a great thing. You have a choice on who you date. If you're now going and dating people that are working in McDonald's when you're doing something else, that's on you. So then now you come and impose that pressure on a man that loves you.
Impose an expectation that was never going to be met to begin with.
It's different if he is, that's what he's aspiring for and that's what he wants for himself. It's different. But you knew where he came from, humble beginnings, you know his mindset, and then all of a sudden you just come and bamboozle him.
Oh, this is what Twitter said, so you must do this.
It's not.
Please, let's... Okay,
you shouldn't even be in a relationship if that's your mindset.
Yeah, so just a last question now. Imagine now, because he knows how much you want a ring, he has now taken out a loan to get you an engagement ring. But you don't know. It's not until after you get married that obviously you see the letters of debt. Like, oh, you have to. Basically, he's got the ring on finance.
Don't do that for me.
Do you know what? Okay, can I answer that question first? Do you know
how would you actually feel?
First of all, I feel really heartbroken. The reason why I feel heartbroken is not even towards him, it's towards myself, because then I feel like there's something I must have done to let him think, or maybe I've spoken too much about wanting a ring, or I've made myself seem too high maintenance, and you know, he couldn't afford it. And as my husband, because at the time you had a choice to speak to me about it before we got married, but you didn't even think that I'd listen, or you know, there's a reason you didn't speak to me about it. And I get it, maybe because maybe it's not even got to do with me listening, because all my friends, everyone around me, and I hope by the time I get to that stage, the man I'm gonna marry will know that I'm a simple girl as well. As much as I might seem like I'm not, when I'm down for people, I'm very simple. So the fact that my husband
1, 2, 3 ABC,
that's how easy it is with me, like, you know. So for the fact that my man and the man I've married, like my husband, did not see that, it's very, very sad that you've had to go.
He could communicate with me.
You've had to go all the way to get like a loan to get me like, do you know that's the worst case scenario? Because can I say
into marriage in debt?
I don't. Oh my gosh, you know, even the first scenario that you said, I was gonna say like, I don't want that at all. Like, I don't want to have to rationalize. Like, I want that day to go as, like, you know, your wedding to go as smoothly as possible without having to get any loans, or, you know, the ring as well. You don't have to go all out. I'm not gonna lie, I want a ring, and you can, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's not like now you have to go and buy like a 30k ring.
It's not the end of the world.
Like, it could be like, do you know what I mean? Like, and when it comes to ring, because it symbolizes something. More time, men, you know, they shop for rings that they believe that their partner would like. So I'm not here asking you for 30k rock. Like, it's not a bit of me anyway. Do you know?
Right.
So that's important.
My answer is just don't do that for me. Whoever you are, I would be so upset.
I'll be so
because
upset.
I would just literally feel like you really didn't have to do that. Like,
so
I'm already yours, babes. You didn't have to do that.
Like, you know, I'm a simple girl, so why
would you do that, sir?
And it's not even like, oh, we're simple girls, pick us. Nah, we're simple girls as in we're actually simple girls. We understand. The same way we might have things that we want to do but we can't do right now. We get it. We're not here imposing like unnecessary pressures on people. Like that's what we mean.
Keyword unnecessary.
This reminds me of you were going to ask something. Actually,
what about you? Answer your question.
You didn't answer.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Oh yeah, like would you
if you had to take a loan out?
I would be heartbroken. Like I would be
the fact that he couldn't talk to you about it.
I would be really like sad. The fact that you couldn't even just like sit me down and have a conversation, because like both of you said, we're very simple, babes. We're very, very simple.
This is not even. Do you know what? It's starting to sound like a big. It's starting to sound like a little pick me. Let me tell you something, yeah, husband. If you're watching, I'm not low maintenance.
Like we got standards, we've got everything, but it's that
you got to do your beat.
But
like, what the hell?
Here is working.
But sorry, when you love someone, That's like you trying to risk it for materialistic things.
You know, it reminds me of an episode of Girlfriends.
Oh my God, tell me.
Yeah, how what's it? She's Tony. She's married Todd.
Yeah,
and she finds out that.
No way.
Oh, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, let's not.
Wait, I'm at the bit where she's pregnant.
You know.
Okay, go on.
So basically,
some people might be watching.
Spoiler alert. Skip. Spoiler alert. But she's found out that he's in over $700,000 of debt.
That one was
because do you know why he's in that much debt? Because he saw the lifestyle that she wanted, and obviously he wasn't in the financial business to do it, so he went out of his way to do all of these loans, all of these credit cards, blah blah blah, to ensure that she has her dream wedding. So she has the shoes, the clothes, everything that she wants.
Can I comment on that? Do you know when I saw that, the first thing that came to my head was you're fraud and you're untrustworthy. And I get the reason why you're doing it, because you want to impress the woman and you love the woman, but you're giving her a false narrative of what your life is. That's a lie. That is not your life. That's fraud. Honestly, I could get you arrested for that.
You're leading me on to believe
if you know who Tony is.
If you know who Tony
is someone she can provide that life for herself.
Absolutely.
She knows what she brings to the table.
Absolutely.
And she just wants it from a man also.
And
so for you to pretend that that's who you are.
And she has no problem making it clear to a man. Like she doesn't hide the fact that this is who she is. This is what she wants. And he's disguised himself to make him seem like, you know, that's the kind of person he is. And she's accepted it. Now they're married. And
now you've made her feel like she has a responsibility to kind of clear.
No, she doesn't. She didn't need. Honestly,
700,000.
This sounds so bad. Can I say something? This sounds so bad. Obviously, we're not here to talk about divorce because God forbid. But I think that's ground for divorce for some people. I understand. No, I absolutely understand it because that's not the man I married.
That's
not the person you married.
100,000.
You were
fraud.
You were led to believe somebody is someone they're not. That's not the person you married. So that's ground for divorce.
700, nearly 1 million.
Like, are you not hearing men are trying to divorce women because they're seeing them without makeup for the first time? Like all that stuff. Like you're not the person. Even though that one's extreme.
That's one is extreme. And if you're a man like that,
please look at your woman, please.
My quick question, because I want to round this one up, but if he say he couldn't get you the ring, but you're in a more financial stable place than him, and he told you to buy it for yourself, how do you feel?
No,
I wouldn't get it at all.
No? You're absolutely mad.
Okay. I wouldn't get it at all.
You're smoking Skittles. You're not well.
It's crack,
cocaine,
crack cocaine,
meth, ketamine. What method
it's not even
use?
It's not weed.
What method did you use to ingest cocaine today? Because that is something.
Insulting.
Did you inject?
Do you know do you know that meme of what's her name? Oh, I forgot the name of the meme where she's literally getting Annalise, where she's that's me. Get out.
Viola Davis.
I would laugh.
And guys,
because what's the point of that?
This is not even an ego thing, because obviously you got to boost your man's ego. I would laugh in your face. Like, you don't do that. What do you mean?
Don't do it.
Buy my own ring.
Imagine that's like on his, I know it's not the same, but imagine now on his birthday and I've done him like a party and all his friends are coming and he's like, oh, did you get me this gift? I'm like, oh no, I didn't get it, but why didn't you get it for yourself? Wrap it and then I'll write a note so that it looks like it's come from
I might as well, when we go date night, I might as well give him my bank card and you pay for the meal.
Bye.
What are you doing?
Right. And basically guys, that's
no, sorry, one last question. You forgot, you didn't answer the question about the 20, like if he was to buy you like an Argos ring.
Oh yeah,
would you accept that? Sorry, Ayo.
You know, it depends why he bought it. If he bought it because
he wants to get married to you and it's a ring.
Okay,
sorry,
this is my answer to that question, right? I don't know how to answer this.
I feel like you've answered already.
It's gonna sound a bit
not as that you wouldn't accept it.
You would rather nothing.
I'd
basically.
rather nothing.
Yeah,
because for me it's like, not that a ring has to be a certain amount of money, but if you're literally getting that because that's all you could afford and like you want to scrimp and save and get, no, I'd rather you just get me nothing and I would be over the moon.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Do you know so how would the proposal work? Like, would
you can ask somebody to marry. It is always, will you marry me? It's not, this ring is not talking.
It kind of is.
Okay. I'm done. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Yeah, good night, guys.
Thank you so much for watching.
Bye, guys.
Bye.